Hey, new video? Oh my god, I haven't made one of these in absolutely forever. At this point, I feel like I'm making one video per quarter of the year, which is probably right. Now, before I begin, I've got some gameplay in the background. This was taken from a silent stream, if that's a way to put it. Basically, I was streaming at like 2 in the morning, doing this tournament that I later got kicked out of because Gaijin still can't fix that bug. Anyways, I thought about taking that gameplay because there's some really nice matches that I've had here. And before I begin, I wanted to do a subtle rant because I just looked at this gameplay here that I have on the G10 that I've been flying around, and that kind of a meme video I did with Napalm. The G10 is a plane that single-handedly started my channel. It's not just kind of where my love for Messerschmitts came from, but this plane made the name. theOrangeDoom originates from the G10. This was the plane that I was playing around in the garage with, and I thought, hey, this needs some decals. So I opened up the orange circle, and I was like, yo, this could work, you know, I make it bigger, and I put it onto the wing, I put it onto the elevator, and like that, almost instantaneously, the name OrangeDoom popped up in my head, and, you know, the rest is history. So, over the past couple of years, Gaijin has done several changes to decals. The first change they did was to make it so that you couldn't expand the decals into a large surface. So you could no longer, for example, cover your tank with, I don't know, orange decals to make it look like a giant orange. I actually used to do that, believe it or not. So, obviously the change was annoying. I don't like it, still to this day. It's been around for, I want to say 2.5 years or 3 years that we haven't been able, you know, I haven't been able to put orange wings back onto planes. But now they've taken it a step further. It seems like what they've done is they've implemented an algorithm that removes those decals that are still applied to vehicles that are too big than the current restrictions apply. So whilst you can still see these decals in my case, this is my personal insignia, you know, I see that in the hangar, and then I load into a game and it's no longer there. Which is ironic because of two reasons in my opinion. The first one is that Gaijin does love to promote a lot of these supposedly quote-unquote unique decals to stylize your tanks with, but at the same time, they also put such a big map in the game that you're never going to actually see those decals on enemy tanks. You will see bushes though. Lots of bushes. Alright, let's cut to the chase of the video, the meet and greet. This is the Panther D. It is one of my favorite tanks in the game as of right now, and it's because of two reasons. Number one, it's in a 5.7 German lineup, which means, yes, trash teams, but also, yes, powerful weapons and good close air support and amazing AAA. It's the decals. Wait, that's a skin. That's not decals. This is the Think camouflage. And believe it or not, it's actually in the game, which means that you can see it. But there's a plot twist. You can only see this skin in the game if you've gone to the options, scrolled down to the bottom, found a segment that says show content in-game, and then actually select, I believe it's either historical and semi-historical or all. From what I understand, this is because of the new market where you can buy different skins on, so in order for other players to filter these skins. Which is confusing because we have like 5 skins on every vehicle in the game, and most players use stock skins because nobody's gonna grind those 200 to 400 kills to get a skin unlocked so you can have, you know, like I do, have a white camouflage on a forest map because why not? Why would they put a filter on that? I don't get it. Now, I don't know if the filter is off or on by default, if it's on historical or semi-historical or what the different options are. I'm just putting it out there as a bit of a PSA. If you do want to see other people's unique skins, even though there's only like 5 of them, yeah, you got to go to the options and you got to turn that thing on. Okay, now we can talk about the tank. So when I first got the Panther D, D stood for disappointment. This is not a medium tank. I've said it. I mean, okay, it's classified as a medium. It has all the characteristics of a medium. Trust me, this is far from a medium. I think the Panther D has more in common with the playstyle of a Jagd Panther at 6.3 than it does with the Panther A at 6.0, even though it's quite literally, you know, the predecessor. Now, why do I think so? I think so because of a simple reason, the turret rotation. It's non-existent, right? If you try to use this tank and shoot to the side, you're wasting valuable seconds, if not minutes, if not hours, just trying to turn that big old slouchy turret around. And it's slow on a Spada tank. It's slow with an aced crew. Now imagine this thing stock on your level 3 account that you've just bought all the gold on. Bad idea. So, when I first got the Panther, I encountered that problem. Oh, we got a Panther now. And I thought, you know, oh, this is gonna be power, you know, to the maximum. Just shoot and seal club Russian tanks. And then you get shot on the side and it overmatches and it's not fun to look at. So the way I started playing it is quite literally like the Act Panther's being played. And the way you play the Act Panther is frontally you have armor, sides have no armor, rear you'd never want to show your rear, and turret, the Act Panther has no turret, so we're fine with that. The way you play it is a lot like, if I have to compare to an animal, think about a rhinoceros, okay? You point and you run into it and you flip it over or impale it on your horn or whatever the, you know, National Geographic. Just imagine David Attenborough in the background saying, "And a rhinoceros goes into the pool. Oh, majestic kill." And please don't let my bad accenting distract you from the fact that we're about to seal club half of the enemy team. Normandy. Oh boy, I like this map. This is the Fields of Normandy, so it's a bit of a, I'm going to call it just a semi-disliked map. People are not a big fan of it, I guess. A lot of open ground, reasonably small. Spawn camping tends to go quite quickly. Have you seen that shot right there? I know I'm distracting you. I'm distracting you because I want you to rewatch this video halfway through it. It's because I don't need a stabilizer. German tanks have a pretty much built-in stabilizer called just pure weight. And I always hear this discussion, which is comparing X tank to Y tank. And they're saying, oh, but this tank has a stabilizer. But oh, this tank has a, you know, more high explosive in that shell. Stop comparing tanks. You're never going to reach consensus if you're comparing different tanks at the same BR, because you're going to find that one tank is just simply better than the other. You should be comparing lineups, because lineups make the difference. It's where which nation has the better SPA, which nation has better close air support, which nation has better mediums, light, heavies, how many different vehicles can you take. Those are, you know, the definitive factors when it comes to actually figuring out balance in a game. And that goes as much for gauging balance in the department as it goes for just general comments on videos or Reddit threads. Stop comparing two tanks with each other, because that's not how our matchmaker works. You can compare two tanks with each other if you're playing 1v1 duels, which most people that are making the comments are not. Okay, now to trigger some people, we are now spawn, that's right, pushing. Why are we spawn pushing and why are we not spawn camping? Well, the difference between spawn pushing and spawn camping, which I did a very poor job of explaining last year, is that spawn pushing occurs naturally. When your team has all the capture points, when you have the advantage, you're inevitably going to drive up, well, into the enemy spawn, because that's the only place where there's going to be more tanks for you to shoot at. In the case of Fields of Normandy, yeah, that spawn pushing it's quite easy to do. And as such, you maybe not even realize this, but on average, those of you who are aggressive players and are in winning matches, most of those winning matches, you inevitably end in the enemy spawn, don't you? On the other hand, though, we have the spawn camper. Now, a spawn camper's sole goal is to get kills from the enemy spawn. That means he's not going to go for the capture point, he's not going to help you out when you're calling for backup, he's not going to shoot down planes, he's just going to drive across the map, sit there, and hope he gets somebody blind enough to not see him sitting in the spawn. That's the difference. So, what do we have here? Well, we have a KV-2 that's right in front of me, but when I say I don't see it, I mean I don't see him. I'm too busy showing off that I've got 9 kills. Oh, hello, big gun. The KV-2 is like, it's not that nice, but it's really easy to kill. So as long as you go through the turret front, which I recommend more than trying to go for that little hatch on the bottom of the driver, go for that turret. Easier kill, much more work to be done. And that's it. That's literally it for this game. Why? Because the rest of the players are in planes. So what are we going to do? I'm not in an SPAA. It's not like I can really damage planes in any way, so we'll just sit here. I'm kidding. What kind of a fun would it be to sit in a tank and not try to at least shoot down something? I've got 6 shells. They're not very expensive because I'm not using HeatFS or APDS or APFS, DS, HeatFS, FS, Dev. I don't even know what the new shells are, so I'll just call them shells. It's easier, isn't it? The Pantherino. God, I love this thing. Here we go. Aisle 10, flying in a straight line, and the way we do this is we just kind of blind gun it, and let's see what we get. That's brilliant. A hit. You can see the rage on the screen right there. Quite a mad little ginger. But so whilst we're just sitting here waiting for me to get 2 additional kills for that total 12 kills, 0 deaths, KD, I thought about telling you a little bit about my life. right now, because I have been fixing my sleep schedule like crazy, which has resulted in not being able to stream much. Not that I have streamed much. I stream about, I'd like to say 1.3 times a week on average, which is not that good considering I used to stream daily, but maybe if I feel like it, I might stream 1.6 times a week. Would that work for people? Hopefully it would. So what I've done recently is I've been stuck in a bit of a weird sleeping pattern, and I thought I have to fix this, and there's only one way you fix, you know, going to bed at 4 AM and waking up at 1 PM. The way you do that is you just don't go to bed one night. You simply just pull an all-nighter. So I stayed up all night, I was gaming, I was sorting out some of my music, and it worked. It was a bit of a pain because I did take about, I think, an hour and a half or a 2-hour nap. What happened was, weird enough, so I pulled the all-nighter, I go for a morning run at 8:30 AM, which I'd never think about doing, and when I came back, I felt really awake. Then we went for lunch, and I had a beer. So just a frame, beer plus food, and when I came home, I food comed. I felt drunk, and I just leaped onto the bed, and I just died. For about 2 hours, I disappeared from the face of the earth. But it worked. It worked up until, I think, midnight, fell asleep, woke up today morning, and I went for a morning run at like 7 in the morning, got myself a nice breakfast, and I can feel the energy surging absolutely throughout me. And I don't know how I'm going to feel in 2 days' time, because I need, you know, I need a few days to get used to it. It might even take a week and a half to 3 weeks to get the body fully prepared for it, but in general, throughout summer, I'm looking for some intensive, not so much exercise, because I find exercise relatively boring, but I'll put some effort into that too. Running. I love running, I love cycling. I have a marathon, I think it's 97 kilometers that we're doing in about 2 weeks' time. So I've got to be prepped up for that, and I'm not really in the best of shape. And I may have even had a minor bike accident last week, which happens about, I want to say every 6 months, there's something that happens with my bike. Actually, a few months ago, I completely demolished the rear tire on the bike because I slammed into the, I was evading a dude. I was driving in the bike lane like you're supposed to, and some pillock in a car drove in front of me and blocked the road. So me, being a good Samaritan, thought I'll just go around and I'll, you know, bunny hop the curb, and I didn't bunny hop the curb, I tired the curb, so it was annoying. But last week I was riding on my bike. I was driving home from a running event. It was, I think, 2.5 kilometers that we ran up to the castle in the capital. We have a beautiful capital. If you ever have some time, Google capital of Slovenia. You'll find some brilliant pictures. So we're running up there, and I felt great. You know, there's a lot of energy that's surging, a lot of people running around you, you know. And on the way back, it started raining. And when you're riding a road bike, you have very little traction on the wheels, because the tyres just don't have a lot of surface area. So you have to be careful when you're pretty much going sideways into a corner, which is how we tend to turn. And I don't know why, but throughout the entire time riding home, I was going through puddles. I was wet, and then this one little puddle spot just before going into a roundabout, and I turned to evade the puddle, and I offset my angle just enough that when I started turning, the bike just disappeared from underneath me, and I went flopping onto the belly. Which, luckily enough, I had zero, like, I didn't have any scratches, not that I recall. I did bang my knee, and I banged my left elbow, so there's like a little bit of damage visible, but overall, I'm a lucky idiot. So in the grand scheme of things, there's a potential you might get some videos, if I feel like it. If you like this video, boom, you better like it. If you don't, then you're not going to like it. Then you're just going to sit there and give me the money for the ads anyways, which I'm going to get 20 cents out of. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you in the next one. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram.